Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Josie's Point of View, where we focus on human interest stories from the Carolinas and beyond. Today it's Thursday and it's November the 6th, 2025. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new to my channel, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you find the information here to be informative. And if you're a returning viewer, by all means, thank you for coming back. You know, I always say the tide changes so frequently here on these YouTube streets. So you always have to acknowledge where your support comes from. And I want you to know I sincerely thank you for your support. So feel free to like and to share this video. And don't forget to subscribe. And our story today is coming out of Greenwood, South Carolina. Take a look at the headline. And it reads, South Carolina pastor and former mayor arrested for criminal sexual misconduct inside a hospital. I'll provide you with a summary here, and as always, I'll place links to a few of the full articles in the description box. So this is another video for a series under the heading of Church Leaders Behaving Badly. It's coming out of South Carolina, and it's a bit unbelievable, but I wanted to share it with you. So pull up a chair and let's talk for a few minutes. So today's focus is on this man, 71-year-old Johnny Waller, former mayor of Calhoun Falls, a small town in South Carolina. In fact, I did some research and found that he was the first black mayor of that town. He was first elected in 1992. He lost his seat in 2009, but regained it in 2013. And reports say he served as mayor for 22 years. And after he had a heart attack in 2015, that's when he decided that would be his last term in office. But this video today, it's not about the former mayor's role in politics. We're speaking about him because of a second title that he has, and that in which he's referred to as pastor. Now, if you've ever spent time in a hospital, I'm sure you may have experienced the benefit of pastoral care. It's a ministry where faith leaders or faith that's similar to your faith would come to your room and pray with you on a daily basis. I know I have had several major surgical procedures, and during my admission, there was always a question asked as to whether I wanted to be seen by a minister or by a pastor. Now, I've used that support services and I have found it to be very helpful. Now, it may not work for others, but I know it has definitely been supportive for me. And that leads right into our story for today. It's based on a report from a local police chief, a report that he sent out letting the public know that the former mayor and visiting pastor had been arrested and charged for his behavior while visiting a patient at a South Carolina hospital to provide those pastoral care duties previously described. And the location of our story today is Self Regional Healthcare, a large teaching hospital described as a Level 3 trauma center in Greenwood, South Carolina. Now, it's been reported that the facility provides services across the span of life, from acute care to tertiary care to home health care. In other words, throughout a patient's lifespan, care is provided to residents. So let me first summarize with you my understanding of what was reported to have taken place inside of that patient's room, and then I'll provide you with a copy of the report from the chief of police. Now, so there was a patient in that hospital who had been there for over 6 months. The patient's diagnosis was not disclosed, but it was mentioned that the patient was not in a position to make any decisions for herself. She was described as being cognitively impaired and classified as being vulnerable, meaning that she needed extra protection to safeguard her from the world. And we know that in his capacity as pastor or clergy, Pastor Waller often visited a hospital and prayed with patients who were identified as being of similar faith. Not sure again how long he had been doing it, but he had been doing it for some time. Well, during the month of September, a staff member saw the pastor doing something of a sexual nature with this vulnerable patient, and that staff member reported that incident to the hospital leadership, who immediately contacted police. And so an investigation was launched. Videotapes were looked at, people were interviewed, and based on the conclusion, investigators say the pastor was arrested and charged with a sexual act against a vulnerable patient, and then the hospital took further action by permanently banning him from their facility. And here's a copy of the entire letter that was released to the public from the chief of police. It's a little bit difficult to read here. So what I've done, I've broken it down in 3 different places and I've enlarged it, but I have not removed any of the information. What I'm going to share with you is exactly what's contained in that letter. So at the beginning, it says Greenwood Police Department. It identified the chief of police by name and it said for immediate release. And the date was October the 9th, 2025. And the letter begins with the headline Greenwood Police investigate alleged inappropriate conduct at Self Regional Healthcare. The Greenwood Police Department is actively investigating a report of inappropriate conduct involving a hospital visitor and a vulnerable adult patient at Self Regional Healthcare. On September 27, 2025, officers were dispatched to the facility following concern raised by hospital staff. A staff member reported witnessing a situation in a patient's room that prompted immediate concern and led to notification of security and law enforcement. The individual in question, a community member known to visit patients under a pastoral role, was observed in a room of a long-term patient under the care of the Department of Social Services. Due to the nature of the encounter and the patient's diagnosis cognitive condition, an investigation was initiated to determine if a criminal offense occurred. The patient involved has been under medical care at South Regional since early 2025 and has been formally deemed to lack decision-making capacity by multiple physicians. Law enforcement investigators have since collected surveillance footage, gathered statements from hospital staff, and conducted interviews with relevant parties. And here's the final part of it. It said, as a result of the investigation, a warrant for criminal sexual conduct third degree was issued for Johnny Waller, for which he was subsequently arrested, booked, and placed in the Greenwood County Detention Center. He has been formally trespassed from all regional healthcare properties, which means he can't go back on them. The investigation is ongoing and is being conducted with the cooperation of hospital administration and the Department of Social Services. Due to the sensitive nature of this case and to protect the identities of the individuals involved, no further details would be released at this time. And it ends by saying anyone with additional information related to this case is encouraged to contact the Greenwood Police Department. And when the hospital administration was contacted, they did affirm that they were aware of it, that they knew that the individual had been arrested and charged with a criminal sexual conduct, third degree, in connection with the incident. They also said that, that he was not employed and he was definitely not a volunteer. He was not affiliated with any of their facilities, and that they are cooperating with the Greenwood Police Department. Now, it appears that several organizations were involved, Department of Social Service, Greenwood Police, the hospital, and it appears that they really did their homework before they went ahead and made an arrest. Now, as I already mentioned, this particular incident took place on September the 27th, and that was followed by an investigation that lasted about 2 weeks, and then he was arrested on October the 8th by the Greenwood Police Department. Now, they say that he was assigned a surety bond of $50,000, which he was able to post, and he was released that same day. And the Greenwood police say the investigation is ongoing. There was no information posted as far as his follow-up court date. Now, as I've already mentioned, I have benefited from pastoral care in the past. It has helped me to deal with anxiety before I had a surgical procedure, and it's also helped me to deal with early postoperative pain management while I was in the hospital. So I truly understand the value of this service. I've used it previously, and without question, if there was a need in the future, I would definitely use it again. But to be honest, just being in a room
with a single patient and having the door closed is probably something hospitals may want to address. But I honestly don't understand how it could be done any differently, because you want to provide a patient that quality time, that one-on-one time with the minister of their choosing. And in order to do that, you do need a certain level of privacy. But this case is really sad because it makes you wonder whether this is an isolated incident or whether this alleged behavior may have occurred previously. And I say alleged because these are serious charges. We're not exactly sure what that staff member saw, but we know it must have been serious. And it definitely had to have been sexual in nature, hence the charges. And what happens here, it places a very valuable service at risk. And that's my personal perspective. But I'll try to stay on top of this case and I'll bring you updates whenever they become available. And that's all I have for you right now, but feel free to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think about this video. And by all means, feel free to like it and to share it. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on that red subscribe button. It's on the bottom right hand corner of your screen. And if you click on the bell that looks like just like this one, that's the notification bell. If you click on that notification bell, you'll be the first to know whenever a new video is uploaded. I thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.